These are the technique tips for Northern Ireland question 10, the reliability question. Again, this answer is based on a source. We're looking at the source and trying to judge whether we trust it, in particular for looking at reactions to Prime Minister O'Neill's policies and actions in the 1960s. We must make judgments. We must decide whether we trust it or not. And to lead us to those judgments, we use the criteria of author, date, audience, purpose, tone, and some of you will also consider the mode or the type of source it is. In this case, it's a statement, a public statement, and we'll judge that as well. We want to find that it is trustworthy, it is reliable, or we want also to look at reasons why we don't find it completely reliable, that we wouldn't completely trust it. We must explain these judgments. We can't just state them or describe the criteria, as that will not allow us to get the best marks. You can see an example answer below. We can see that we've used the words of the question in our answer. The source is reliable for studying reactions to O'Neill's policies and actions to an extent. So we're recognising there are ways we find it reliable and ways we don't. We're judging it according to the author, Jack Lynch, a Taoiseach, and we're recognising that he's a nationalist, and it helps us find this reliable because he has no reason really to be so positive about a unionist politician, a unionist prime minister, and yet he is, and so therefore we hope we can trust it. However, he's writing after the policies had been implemented, and so he has had a time to consider what reactions to these policies would be, and again we can see then that his views should be reliable. He's also speaking to an audience who are the public, and so therefore we would like to think as a public figure he wouldn't mislead them, that he's maybe trying to inform them by this statement just about his views on the policies and actions that O'Neill brought in. It's valuable as it's a first-hand reaction. However, and this is where we have to be a bit cynical, we can't overly trust everything. We've got to find reasons why we think it might not be fully trustworthy. He isn't representative of all views. He's a nationalist, so it's not reliable. We can't trust it for what unionists thought. Neither can we trust it for all nationalist views because he's an outsider nationalist. He's coming from somewhere outside of Northern Ireland, and so it maybe isn't reflective of nationalists who were disappointed in the policies after they had been rolled out. Also, maybe he wants to make O'Neill appear good because he took time himself to gamble politically and meet with this unionist Prime Minister in Northern Ireland. And maybe he wants to reassure the people in his own country that that was a good idea, because this is genuinely a good person who had good intentions and did the right thing in bringing in these policies in the late 1960s. And so maybe what we're saying is he had his own reasons for putting forward this very positive view, and maybe that should leave us a little bit reticent in making our judgment about it too perfect. So, where might people go wrong whenever they're answering this reliability question? Well, sometimes they will use the word useful and not reliable in their answer. Do not do that. It's a really simple but frustrating thing whenever an examiner comes to mark it. You must use the words of the question in your answer. It is reliable in finding out about reactions to Prime Minister O'Neill's policies and reactions. Please don't just describe the criteria. You can see that here. Don't just say the source is useful because it's a public statement made by Jack Lynch, the Taoiseach. That identifies the criteria that we want to use for judgment, but it does not explain why any of those things make it reliable. Let's have a look here and see what it says. This is a better answer. The source is reliable because it's a public statement by Jack Lynch, the Taoiseach. We want to say, so what? Why is that reliable? Well, it's reliable. It means that it's likely to be representative of nationalist views, and Lynch must expect that his views will be widely shared by the people in the Republic because it's a public statement. That is a much better developed explanation of why you view it to be trustworthy or reliable.